Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tech&R, What's the Deal with Blogs? A practical and useful introduction. I'm Susan Harrison, Senior Vice President with Exit Realty, and I'll be moderating this session. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please type them into the question box on your GoToWebinar pane, and we'll get back to you. You're in listen-only mode, and today's Tech&R is being recorded. One of the best ways to leverage your real estate expertise and build a knowledge base is by blogging. Yes, it takes time and discipline to do it well and to see the rewards, but it's worth it. Joining Exit Realty's Vice President of Technology Engagement, Annette Anthony, today is an expert on the subject. Annette?
Welcome, attendees. Thank you so much, Susan. I am really excited about today's session. And you know what? I know what you're thinking. If you've attended a Tech&R with me before, I always say that I'm excited about today's session, but I really am fascinated with technology, and I get excited when I see opportunities agents can use to attract, engage, and accelerate relationship building, and blogging is one of them. Now, today we have Kia Saad, who is an SEO strategist. He is a wealth of information when it comes to teaching real estate professionals how to leverage the internet. Now, he's super animated because he geeks out when he shares his expertise and passion when he's talking about helping you, our attendees, to do the following. For instance, increase your web traffic, provide content you can share and have others share on social, be known as the authority in your area, be found on Google, provide up-to-date information on the market, become a better writer, which impacts how you communicate, and all of this can be enhanced with blogging. Now, recently, we had a webinar featuring one of our agents who does blog, and we asked our attendees if they blogged. And of those in attendance on that particular webinar, nearly 18% blogged, but 78% did not. That's why this webinar is essential. Now, there may be some objections about blogging, which we'll likely answer when we get to the Q&A section. But key, right now, I am so thrilled that you're with us. Let's get our audience fired up about having the desire to blog. Welcome, Key.
Hello, Annette. How are you?
Great.
It's good to be with you. Hello, Susan. Hello, Exit family. And yes, today we're going to be talking about what's the deal with blogs. And what I want to do is give you a practical, thoughtful way of thinking about blogging that is not jargon-driven, but storytelling-driven. You're a blogger, you just don't know it yet. So when I was chatting with Annette, I told her that I would like to just open the door for this conversation in a practical way. But I want you to understand, as a strategist, I teach a course on blogging, and it's an all-day course. And there's a lot to learn, but I promise you, if you keep the ideas I share with you today, you can start blogging today. So you don't have to wait to attend a strategy training with me to do the blog. But there are some fundamental things you need to understand. What I want to do is encourage you, empower you to start seeing real estate marketing not as a sales technique, but as a storytelling way of connecting with buyers and sellers. I want you to become a storyteller. By the way, you already are. You do it one-on-one rather than doing it one-to-many. Blogging opens the door to having conversation one-to-many. I want to encourage you to take this topic seriously. I promise you it will serve you well. I've seen a lot of agents who have taken me on when I taught the topics of blogging, and to this day, they're still blogging and building their visibility. So let's start with the obvious. What's with the name? Who came up with this name? Where did they fish this name called blog? Well, first you need to understand, you got to go back all the way to the 80s, before the internet was the internet. Back then, we had what are called tech postings. Tech postings are basically where scientists, engineers, architects, and techies would have a conversation about the topic, and somebody will answer that topic. And when you did that, you build a log. A log is basically a series of answers that are time stamped. And what happened is, when those logs became popular, they started putting them on, back then, the web. So when a techie talked to another techie, when a scientist talked to another scientist, and they had a question about a topic, they would say, you know something, go to the web log and find all the answers. Somebody already addressed that topic. So notice they kept saying, go to the web log and check what others have said. And you know how we are, Americans. They dropped the w from the web, kept the b, added the log, and it became blog. So the word blog really is a made-up word. And it stayed made up for many, many years. There were search engines in the early 90s, and then Google realized something. Google realized that the newest information is being put on these things, blogs. So I want to first give you a definition for blog. A blog is basically a story, an article, something that is posted on the web that has a time and a name of an author, somebody who actually wrote the article. That's it. So just think of it as a title, some words, and then the name of the author who wrote the article, and maybe some date and time. And that's it. But what happened is, as search engines were growing, Google in particular found that the latest information in science, in engineering, in biotech, in all of the areas, the blogs contained the latest information. So what they did, they started allowing their Google bots, instead of just going to website, they started hunting for blogs. And when they went hunting for blogs, they were extracting what are called keywords. Now remember, what is a spider? A spider is simply a program that is looking for new information, who wrote it, and then they try to rank it and index it. As that was happening, other marketers realized, wait a second, Google is hunting for blogs. Maybe if I wrote a blog, maybe they will catch my keywords. Now this is early 1994, 95. And then the revolution exploded. This is before even Blogger was around. This is before there was WordPress. None of these entities were around. All there was were websites and some stuff called blog where people put their information. When Google came in, everybody realized, wait a second, this could give me an edge to compete. So remember, what is a blog? It's just a story. I want you to understand that as a storyteller, as a realtor, you do the two things at the same time. Just imagine yourself right now sitting across from a seller. What are you talking about? You're telling them a story. You're telling them the story of you selling their home. You're telling them a story of them moving. Or if somebody is buying, you're telling them the story of the neighborhood or of the house. You are really, deep down, a storyteller who puts deals together in this industry we call real estate. In fact, the best realtors tell the best stories. I don't mean they fabricate, meaning they are patient to listen and engage with buyers and sellers and help them achieve their dreams. You tell stories about properties. You tell stories about neighborhoods. You tell stories about the local real estate markets. You tell stories about the process of buying. You tell stories about the process of selling. You talk about the lifestyles of the communities. You talk about the brand that you work with and your brokerage. You also tell stories about yourself when you are branding yourself. The only difference between you and a blogger that blogs is that you do it one-to-one rather than doing it one-to-many. I want you to remember that. If you can remember that, you will start realizing, wait a second, I don't need to change anything about myself. I just need to capture my voice and put it as words. So every time you write a story, I want you to understand what happens. When you write the blog post, spiders that are sent by search engines are looking at that story. But when, you know what they're doing really? They're extracting keywords. They're extracting search phrases. They're extracting ideas. They're going, okay, this person is Annette Anthony. What else? Well, Annette Anthony, technology. Okay, so now we have Annette Anthony technology. Oh, but we see the name Exit Realty. So therefore, there's Annette Anthony, there's technology, there is Exit Realty. And then the word engagement, because that's what she does. So Google starts extracting these keywords, these words that Annette uses in her blog, and all of a sudden, they make what's called a framework. That framework is what allows you to compete. This idea is called building your keyword framework. You do it unconsciously, but I want you to start to do it consciously. You are not your name. Your name is only a portion of what you do. Your name, your brokerage, the brand you work for. But you know what's more important? Where you work. What type of properties you sell. Do you specialize in land? Do you talk about foreclosures? Do you talk about short sales? Do you talk about waterfront properties? Do you talk about golf properties? Do you talk about luxury homes? Do you talk about living in condos in downtown? All of those ideas are called SEO. We call that idea building your keyword framework. And the best way for you to attach who you are to your keyword framework are blogs. Blogging is the best way to do it. So what does that do for you? Well, it helps you with validation. What is validation? Well, people are going to Google you behind your back. And when they do, they see Annette Anthony. Got it. I see Exit Realty. Got it. She is in charge of technology engagement. Got it. How long she's been in the business. All of these things that are put together, that framework allows you for Googleability, but also it allows you for ranking. Because remember, as an agent, let's say you're working in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, you're not the only realtor there. You're competing with other agents who have Charlotte, North Carolina as their idea as well. Well, if you blog, now you control the story more than they do. So every time you write a blog or a story, I prefer using the word story. Every time you write a story that includes your local areas, you are now telling Google, look at me, don't look at them. That's how you compete with keywords. With keywords, you can use what you do and where you do it to drive traffic to your website, to your blog, to your brand, to anything that you do, so that people will go, I see, this is not just Stephen Smith. This is Stephen Smith who does real estate in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're looking for Charlotte. Okay, let's work with Stephen Smith. See, I'm going to even give you this idea that you already do. You are already blogging, you just don't know it. Let me explain. Do you know every day when you go to Facebook and you write a short paragraph or a sentence or something like that, do you know what you're doing really? You're blogging. Do you know every time you put a tweet, you're blogging? Every time you put a picture on Instagram, you're photo blogging. Every time you put a video on YouTube, you're video blogging. You're blogging all the time. But those type of blogs are called microblogging. Microblogging is where you're taking one idea and you take a short version of it and you put it there. Here's the problem with blogging on social media. When you blog on social media, the spiders don't see it. You see, you may be saying to me, but Key, wait a second, Key. I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to write an article. Is that good? First of all, I'm going to say yes. Please do that. Anybody who writes, I encourage. But here's the problem with that. The problem with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all of the other, LinkedIn, all of them, they block the spiders from seeing your content. They block them on purpose because that's what allows them to sell advertising. So when you write a blog, let's say you write an article in Facebook, you know what happens? Well, your friends will see it. Hopefully, some of them will see it. But none of the spiders will extract the keywords. So what if you start realizing, wait a second, my brokerage has a website that offers blogging. I'm going to write my article there, but I'm also going to share it on Facebook. That's good. But see, with the blog, you're getting the searchability, the validation. You're getting what's called the keywords and the SEO. With the other one, you're getting only the connection between you and your sphere. You're not building a long-term visibility. So right now, whether you're writing very short or very long, where you write matters. How indexable it is matters a lot. So just assume right now, just say to yourself, I'm a blogger, and from now on, I'm going to find a new venue, a new place where I'm going to tell stories that are a little bit longer than Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So let me first make sure you understand this. The best blog topics are always local. Try to hesitate writing topics like this. How to become a homeowner. That is too general a topic. But if you wrote something like this, how to become a homeowner in Las Cruces, New Mexico, because that's your market, your blog now has more value. You see, in real estate, the best keywords are locally driven. Sometimes as realtor, we make a mistake. We talk about real estate. We talk about the buying process. We talk about the selling process rather than talking about the buying process in Oxnard, California, the selling process in Charlotte, North Carolina. We need to attach location to everything we write about because those are the best keywords. What do you think consumers search with? They search by location. So location is always useful to you. So the topics that you're going to write about should always be local. And make sure you intersperse in your writing neighborhoods. Now I'm going to just stop for a second. I'm going to emphasize the word neighborhoods. You see, buyers, when they're moving to a new area, let's say they live in Chicago and they're moving to Wilmington. They do not know the name of the neighborhoods. So the name of the neighborhoods are not always useful to buyers. But who else is on the internet? Well, I know what you're thinking, but Key, sellers are on the internet. Sellers want to know what's happening in their neighborhood, the prices in the neighborhood. You see, if you started realizing that blogging at the very local level, at the neighborhood level, at the subdivision level, will give you an edge, not with buyers, It may, by the way, it may give you an edge with buyers, but it gives you the best edge with sellers, or better yet, with future sellers. Our business is about taking listings and matching them with buyers. We don't just work with buyers. So anything that you can incorporate in your blog, neighborhoods, zip codes, counties, cities, communities, anything that can incorporate name of parks, name of schools, anything that incorporates that builds a better keyword framework for you than anything else you do. And here's what's also exciting about this. You know those topics because you live there. You work locally. Why would you worry about what's happening in the market in the United States? That topic is not that exciting. But what's happening locally near a neighborhood, because we have back to school, now that is more important to your buyers, to your sellers, and to your neighbors. Build better keywords by being highly localized in your areas. So what should you blog about? You get this question all the time. So first of all, remember this. You will never, ever, 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 ever run out of topics for blogs. Never. Relax. I hear agents sometimes when they're having anxiety, they go, but Key, what if the other person blogs about the same thing? Did I lose thing? I say, relax. Relax. Most agents are not going to blog. You will be in the minority. It has been a minority for a long time. There will always be less than 10% who are real bloggers. There are probably about 20% of agents who blog once a year. The rest don't even have the conversation. So I want you to relax. Don't worry if your colleague sitting next to you blogs about the same neighborhoods. Remember what's unique about you, your words, your ideas, your style, the way you write, what you want to talk about, when you want to talk about it. That is you. That is only you. Never worry about what others are doing. Focus on what you're doing. So here are some of my ideas. Write a blog about all of your listings. If you have a listing and you're not writing a blog, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you should be waving the flag in that neighborhood going, hey, I'm right here. I'm Annette. It's my listing. It's with Exit Realty. It's my listing. Let me tell you about it. So you doing a blog about your listing should be an obvious thing. Open houses. Write a blog about your open houses, that you're excited about it, that you're going to be in the neighborhood. Describe the property. So open houses, give you blogs. Market reports. If you are farming an area, every 2 to 3 months, I prefer every 2 months, every 2 to 3 months, you're going to write a blog about the local market conditions and statistics of that market. The way you're going to do it is very simple. You're going to pull the report from your MLS, you're going to study it, and you're going to write about it and say, hey guys, this is Key. Let me share with you the latest market report as of July 31st. Well, let me tell you what happened in the last 6 months. There were 25 sales, blah, 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 how many days, and you explain that. All you have to do is report what you see in the market report, and you're going to share it with everyone so they can know what is happening right now. How to qualify for a mortgage. Maybe you interview somebody and you put Q&A blog between you and somebody who is in the mortgage business. Advice how to get your home ready for sale, but not just as a newsletter. Just do it as a blog. Write a story. Say, let me share with you 3 ideas you should keep in mind if you're getting your home ready for the market. Changes in interest rate, the process, you can explain the process of inspection. You can explain what a foreclosure is and how to avoid it. You could talk about what an appraisal is. You could talk about the local farmers market. You could talk about lifestyle. You could talk about the new Walmart that just opened down the street. You could talk about the schools. You could talk about the parks. You could talk about municipal services. There are so many topics that literally, if you blogged every day, you will not run out of topics. But what I want you to do is to start thinking of you as a storyteller that reports on the local market. And I don't want you to worry about what others are doing. The worst thing you can do is go, well, that person is blogging about that. I'm going to avoid that. Don't worry about what others are doing. Worry about what you are doing. And always, notice it's in red, always local. Focus on things that are happening locally. Drive around and then notice what's happening. I have a colleague of mine that is not a good writer. He says, Key, I'm not a writer. So you know what we did? I had him get a dictaphone. I don't know if you guys know those dictaphones. They are voice activated. I said, have a dictaphone with you in your car all the time. If something strikes you, start your dictaphone and talk about it. Just talk about whatever strikes you. The new Walmart that just opened, the new street that has been resurfaced, the new listings that come on, the waterfront that is next to the park. I said, just talk about it. When you get to your office, play it back to yourself and type it, and now you got yourself a blog. He goes, I can do that. He says, I can easily talk. I said, well, use your dictaphone as a primer for you to write. Instead of facing a blank page, start with that. And I promise you, you'll have plenty of blogs. So that could be one way of you talking local. Always be aware what's happening around you. There are tons of topics there. So people always ask me, Key, now you talked about this idea of blogging, you talked about the topics. What is the raw material? Well, the raw material of a blog are very simple. The first one is write about 4 short paragraphs. What do you mean by short paragraph? See, when you're writing for the internet, you're not writing for a book. When you're writing on the internet, you're writing what are called short paragraphs, what are called tapas, things that are about 4 or 5 lines long, about 55 to 75 words, and usually a good blog will have 4 of them. So 4 short paragraphs per blog that will give you a blog. Now, the longer, of course, the better, but you don't have to go crazy. Now, can you get away with 3 short paragraphs? Yes, you can. That's okay. Any shorter than that, you're really microblogging. You're really tweeting or putting it on Facebook. So if you find yourself writing something that has only 2 paragraphs that are already short, you're not really writing a blog. So you always want to have 3, 4, or maybe more, but 3, 4 is good, short paragraph. Second, adding pictures. If you can add pictures between the paragraphs, that would be great. It's not necessary. As far as Google doesn't care if there are pictures within your blog. Google doesn't care if you embed videos within your blog. Google doesn't care. But consumers do. If they see a short paragraph and they see a picture, and they see another short paragraph, they see a picture, they feel like they can go through it very quickly. Because the truth of the matter is, and this will shock you, not everybody is going to read your words. But you know who I want to read my words? You guessed it, search engines. Google, Bing, Yahoo. Search engines are picking up the words you're writing, turning them into search phrases and keywords, and ranking you locally so you become Googleable. So really, you're writing for an audience of 1, which is search engine, but also you're compelling consumer to see what you're doing. This is why we add pictures. Adding a hyperlink to a blog is always a wise idea. So for example, if I'm writing a blog about an open house, I'm going to give you a link to all of the pictures of that listing. So I'll tell you, here's a couple of pictures of this listing. If you want to see all of them, because I have 20 or 25, here's a link that takes you to all of the pictures. And then below that, you're going to put a blog signature. A blog signature is basically a short paragraph telling people what you do and where you do it. It could be as simple as this. Hi, my name is Susan Smith. I'm your local realtor with Exit Realty in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I've been in the business 5 years, and I love real estate. Could be as simple as that. It does not need to be profound. It's a short paragraph that identifies the person who wrote the blog. I usually like to have the phone number and my website in that short paragraph. But we call that the author's short bio or a blog signature. And at the end, there's usually a box called the tags. And the tags, you just put a search phrase. The search phrase could be, if you're writing about Las Cruces, let's say the open houses in Las Cruces, it could be Las Cruces open houses, Las Cruces real estate. It could be as simple as that. So those are the ingredients. So it's not really that difficult. The biggest hurdle a lot of agents have is writing those 3 short paragraphs. So think of it this way. If you're already on Facebook, every 3 paragraphs you write on Facebook could become a blog. Remember, you're not supposed to, you don't have to blog every day. So I'll tell you how often to blog, but the main thing is, it's not that overwhelming. It's mostly of a habit. If you develop the habit, you will be fine. So let's look at some blog posts and let me share with you some thoughts about it. Now, this one I like. It's because it was written by Karen. She is in Temecula. She's with Exit Realty Alliance. And in this blog, she writes about the super bloom that happens once a year and places to see it. And she talks about a location called Lake Elsinore. Let's look at the blog. This is what the blog looks like. This is it. So this is Karen. Notice that her blog has a title. This here is the title. Super Bloom 2019, places to see it and avoid the traffic in Lake Elsinore. Notice that she has 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, 4, 5. She actually did really well. She has about 6 short paragraphs. I mean, this big paragraph, this paragraph here could be made into 2, but she got the idea. She has 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 3, 4, 5. This would be ideal as a blog. Notice what she did also. She has hyperlinks. So when she mentions Lake Elsinore, she places a link there. So notice also, she gave you a picture, an emotional picture. The picture adds emotion to the blog. It is not necessary as far as Google, but for the viewer, it adds that emotional thing. What I like also about this blog is she uses bolds very well. So she gives you, you can see it very quickly by seeing the bolds. And this is at the bottom here, her blog signature. So this is an example of a blog that Karen put together. Now, how often do you write a blog like this? Maybe once a month. Let's look at another one. This one was written by David, and this one is driven by an event. So let's go look at it. This one is David Tovar. He wrote a blog about an upcoming event, which is a workshop they're doing in Oxnard called Protecting Your Hard-Earned Home Equity. And this blog here, as you notice, it has a title. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Instead of embedding a picture, what David decided to do, he decided to embed a video. It's a video that he did with his broker in Lorenzo, and they're talking about inviting people to the event. And notice what he did. He has the paragraphs. He has hyperlinks like this one right here. And at the bottom, he has his blog signature. This would be another example of a blog. Let me show you another one, a third one here. This one was written by an agent by the name of Sally Chester. Sally Chester here is talking about one of her listings that is for sale. And notice how she did it. She took her own angle of it. So she has a picture and a paragraph, and then she has some links. So we can call this 1 picture, 1 paragraph. Then she has a picture right here of the living room, then another paragraph. Then she has a picture of the outside, then another paragraph. And then she has her blog signature. So from this point of view, if you're looking at the blogs, you're noticing that all three of them are following those fundamental rules. There is a title, there are paragraphs that you write, short ones, and then in between, maybe put pictures, maybe add a hyperlink. Now remember again, I said this, you don't need the pictures, you don't need the hyperlinks, but they do help you, so why not add them as part of the process of the blog? So as you notice, they're just simple stories that are written in bite size. This is why I like I want you to remember this. When you're writing for the internet, you're writing in bite-sized form, short paragraph, 55 to 75 words. Now the question comes, and people always ask me, Key, where should I blog? Well, the best blogs are integrated within your website. If you have a brokerage that has a website service that offers blogging, then you probably want to blog there. Now, if you don't, or you don't like that service, you can start your own. You can start your own by going to WordPress.com. There's another platform called Blogger. There's another platform called Wix. There's another platform called Weebly. I prefer WordPress for a couple of reasons. It's an open source software. They have a lot of visual templates to pick from. You can start for free and upgrade as you go along. And it is the granddaddy of blogging. If there is a place that is the biggest platform for blogging, WordPress is it. It has become so big that websites are built on the WordPress platform. Let me show you an example of a blogger by the name of Paula who uses WordPress as her platform. This is her. This is PaulaWinRealtor.com. She is in Jacksonville, Florida. She's with the Real Estate Gallery. And notice she's writing a blog here about one of her listings. Right here, she has one, protect your equity. Notice here she has a video that she's included. Notice that she has a blog signature. Everything that we talked about, she's doing. Short paragraphs, maybe a picture or a video, and her blog signature. So from the point of view of where to blog, my advice to you, go first to your broker. Ask your broker, can I blog in one of our platforms? Now, how often should you blog? Well, let me tell you this. Once a month is good. If you could write a blog once a month, you will already be ahead of 80% of all agents. Once every 2 weeks is much better. But if you get inspired and you develop the skill of writing and you feel energized to blog once a week, oh my God, that would be fabulous. I'm not saying you should. I know you're busy, but if you could commit to blogging once a month, you will already be ahead of a lot of people. I personally blog daily. Now, it's a choice. I'm not saying that you should blog daily, but given what I do, given that I write a lot for my training, it is a natural continuation for me to write a blog every day. You can actually check me out. If you want to see my daily blogs, you can just go to my website. But the main idea is telling a story that has words in it helps you build your visibility, your Googleability, and your keywords. So before I go to questions, let me give you homework. I like to always end with homework. So my challenge to all of you, Exit family, is for you to write a blog in any platform you have where you talk about the Exit convention. I want you to, if you've attended the convention before, find pictures that you from last year or the year before that, and write a blog about the feeling, the learning, the camaraderie that you have, all of the connections that you built by attending the convention. But what I want you to do also, if you're planning to go, talk about it. Maybe you're planning to go not this year, maybe next year. I want you to find a way to talk about it and add the hyperlink exitrealty.com/convention. This is important because what it does to you, it allows you to be able to tell a story about the brand you love. It helps you to let people know what you're up to in terms of connecting with other people. But when you mention that link, and all of you do this by writing your own blog and mentioning that link, the website of Exit Realty goes up, which makes all of the searches within Exit Realty go up. So it's a win-win for you, because really, they're not looking for Steve Morris. They're looking for you, the realtor. So this is a win-win for all of us. I want you to consider doing this assignment because I think it will benefit you. All right. Annette and Susan,
Yes.
time for questions.
So good. You know, you dropped a few knowledge bombs that I, really raised my eyebrows. For example, and we'll probably have somebody ask about building your audience, but when you're writing not only for your audience but for the search engines, that right there is really interesting perspective key, because you're not just doing it for nothing, right? So that's really good. And also, recording what strikes you. We, all of us in our phones, right? You've got a notes app. You can use Evernote, which is free. You could record a little message. You could just record a video to yourself and send it to yourself in a text message. Technology today provides us so much ability to be able to capture those little moments so that you can go back and say, oh, I do actually have some great content to write about, and then to schedule it.
Yep.
If it's not going to get scheduled in your calendar, chances are it may not get done. And I think the once a month and being part of that group of people that, you could really get some visibility, but every 2 weeks, I think that's doable, especially for this audience who has so much to share. So let's open it up for some questions. Susan, what do we have in our queue of our attendees?
Absolutely. First off, I want to say how much I love that assignment key. I am so looking forward to hearing from our associates. So please tag Annette Key and myself when you share that blog post on social media. We'd love to read them. Thank you so much. So first up, let's start with that question. So my audience is too small. How do I build it?
Well, the first thing you do, you build the habit of writing blogs on on a way that people can predict. So if it's once every 2 weeks, make it every Thursday. So every second Thursday of the month, you're gonna write the blog, or every second Thursday in the morning, you sit down and you write the blog about something. The way you build your audience is very simple. You share a link of your blog and what excites you about what you wrote on your social media platforms that you already have. You don't share the whole blog, you share a snippet of it and a link, and you tell people to follow your blog. It is as simple as that. You have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Twitter. You use the people you know to connect with you, and you tell them to connect it with others. That's how you build the fastest way to build an audience.
Mm-hmm. And I've also been studying bloggers, and some other ideas too, Key, is cross promoting, right? Like in your newsletter, point them towards your blog. In a mailer, so if you're doing printing, you want to point people to where they can find more information in your blog. Your email signature, think about everything that you're doing as you're communicating, perhaps a link in your email signature to take people to your blog. Other things too, like adding your social share buttons, where people can then go to social and they can share. And also, one thing that I found was really interesting is invite guest contributors. So if you're blogging about something, if you have a guest that you're interviewing in your blog, what's cool about that is you can have that contributor, right, share the blog with their audience, which is going to expose you to people that maybe you never would have connected with.
Correct. And I love that idea so much, but I want to make sure you have to be authentic. You have to be a blogger before you can ask to be connected to a guest blogger, because if I'm blogging and I see that you're not doing anything, you really just want me to promote you. You're not really, you don't have anything. You're not doing anything on your side. So authenticity for me is we eat the same cooking. You're a blogger, I'm a blogger. Let's work together. That I love.
Yeah, so you can certainly build towards that, right? We'll have a lot of new people, that will recommit to doing this. And as you build, your content and start interacting and bringing in some guest contributors to your blog, for instance, like your Dirty Dozen. Tammy always talks about, bringing in your Dirty Dozen, and chances are if they have a blog and you're speaking together about a certain topic in your blog, you can invite one another to share and support each other.
Agreed.
So next question, Key, what would you say to somebody who doesn't consider themselves to be a writer?
The best thing to do, first of all, you are. So don't sell me on the idea that you're not. You are. You just prefer speaking than writing. The ease of telling stories with your voice is so ingrained in you. That's what you do every day. So guess what? Talk your story, record your story, use your phone, use dictaphones, start talking. I helped somebody write a book by simply using a dictaphone. I would meet him once a week, and we would sit down and say, you're not leaving that room. You're going to talk for a half hour on this topic. I would turn on the dictaphone and we let him talk, and then we would transcribe it. Within about 12 weeks, we had a book. So everybody is a writer. You just need to find the way you want to write. So start recording yourself and transcribing it.
Absolutely. There are machine transcription services, and I have to tell you, I use one of them, and they're hilarious sometimes. Or you can engage someone, for example, from a service like Fiverr to do the transcription for you. And so even if you record a video, for example, and you're offering your top 10 tips to stage a home, you could have somebody transcribe that video for you and turn that into a blog post, right?
Absolutely. Videos are a great source for blogs if they are transcribed. And I do that all the time. If you look at my section when I do my blogs, once a week I have a video blog where I give you the words and the blog, and they are connected. So yes, first of all, everybody's a writer, accept it, because you're a storyteller, and transcription is the way to go.
So that leads to our next question. How do I find the right topic to blog about?
Well, look at your life. Do you have a listing today? Talk about it. Be excited about it. Are you doing an open house on Saturday? Take a picture of it and tell people why you're doing an open house there. Tell them about the neighborhood. Look at your life. Something is happening that will lead you to a story. It's very simple. Don't look for something obscure. Don't look for something profound. Just look at the stuff you do on a daily basis, and there, I promise you, there is a blog a day if you wanted it. But remember, we're just asking you to do every 2 weeks. So if you are working real estate the way I expect you to, and the way you expect yourself to work real estate, well, guess what? You'll have a listing, you'll have a closing, you'll have a testimonial, because you're fabulous. You'll have a broker meeting where you get encouraged to do something. You want to write about a training you did with Annette. There is so much to talk about. I want you to know, just look at your life. The topics are there.
Good point. Life is content.
Yep, life is content.
Absolutely. How do I get my readers to engage with my content?
Well, I think the best way to do it is not to try to force any engagement. Write first for yourself. I write for me. I don't write for anyone else. I write for myself. I already know that when I write, Google is picking me up. And I already know that people are interacting with my content. They may not leave a comment. They may not tell me how they feel about it, but I already know it's resonating. So what I made the decision to not look for external validation as long as I have internal validation.
So that brings up a point. Folks who blog are going to get spammers leaving comments, right? So would you suggest that they leave their comments on moderation, or would you suggest that they just allow comments and then just delete the spammers?
For me, I leave them open and I delete.
Yeah.
You can write any comments you want. Sometimes I get some from Russia where they want to sell me Viagra, and I just delete them. So, but the truth of the matter is I like to leave them open because the people who are going to comment, I want them to comment. And I get notification of who commented, and I delete the ones that are inappropriate. Now, if somebody makes a comment, which is a disagreement with me, but it's somebody really sharing their thoughts, I don't delete it. I leave it.
Right.
They have the right to disagree with me.
Sure, and that can cause some lively engagement, definitely. And when I mentioned that, I really mentioned the spammers, not so much the actual your actual audience, right?
Correct. The spammer, you just delete it. At the beginning of your journey of a blogger, leave it open and don't worry about it. Down the road, you may one of those 1 in a million who are really good at blogging, and then you may have to create a moderation system where you moderate all of your blog. They come in and then you sift them through it, and then you keep the ones you want to keep and delete the other ones. But at the beginning, just leave it open, let them comment.
So on our last point, you've shared so much information, both you and Annette. Either of you, is there anything else that I can do or that our listeners can do with their blog to maximize their efforts?
Get listings. You'll have the best blogs.
That's true. That's true.
Sponsor people, get listings, make money. They make for the best blogs on the planet.
Absolutely. I think for maximizing, right, one of the things you could do is repurpose your content. A blog can turn into a video. That video can be posted, and then you can cross-post on different platforms. You can add it to your YouTube channel. You can create an infographic, right? You can post that infographic across other platforms, and not all at once. You could space these out so that it's got you're able to repurpose this and you're capturing different audiences. You could even share in an instant message on Facebook, which is a more intimate, conversation that you're having with individuals, but it'll give them a taste of your blogs and maximize your efforts.
Yeah, repurposing content is becoming the norm now in inbound marketing. And for me, a story is a video. For example, a story that I write as a blog for an open house may not make for a good video. But a closing that I did where I have a good testimonial, I could write the story and turn it into a video because those things can last on their own. So repurposing content is definitely the way to go. I'm a firm believer, just get going. A lot of our agents sometimes, they want to see the finish line before they even taking the first step. I promise you, blogging works, helps you, will build your validation, and you will build your keywords and searchability. Just take the first step, whatever that is. Take the first step. 6 months from now, you will be having a whole different conversation. If you talk to Karen today about blogging, she's a different person today than she was when I was doing the seminar on blogging a few years ago. She had a whole different mindset. So it's just getting started, I think.
Before Annette wraps up, Key, why don't you let folks know how that they contact you? Maybe flip to that last slide there, and then Annette can wrap it up for us.
My website is Real Estate Web Trainer. You guys already know that I do the live interactive training program called I Fast Track with Kevin. And maybe one day you'll see me in your office doing a training on topics like this. Easiest way to follow me is just go to my website, see my blog, or Facebook me, and you'll find all of my links.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Key. And thank you to our attendees for joining us. For our attendees, can we all agree that we were all beginners once? In fact, some of us are beginners more than a few times, right? When it comes to committing to something, then starting and then stopping and then starting again. But I want you to know that that's okay too. That what I've learned, when I decide to do something, I declare it. And when I do that, I'm now holding myself accountable. And at that point, I'm a doer, right? And it's highly unlikely that I'm going to stop doing what I committed to. So we encourage you to do the same. Find those individuals in your circle that will support and hold you accountable. Definitely reach out to Key if you'd like some accountability. He'll push you. And I got to tell you that you'll be better for it. Now, today's session will be sent to you shortly, and we encourage you to rewatch it. Even better, sit down with someone in the industry and apply it together. Here's what we know. When we help one another grow, you are elevating the entire real estate industry. I want to thank you for tuning in today, and make it a great rest of your productive day.